Hi, my name is Alessandro. I want to talk about the community port of Qt to Android and demonstrate how to get our first Qt application running on Android. It all began when Qt announced the Lighthouse project, which makes Qt easy to port to nearly any operating system. Bogdan Vatra, a Romanian software engineer with a strong passion for Qt and for Android, read about Lighthouse and decided to port Qt to Android as a spare time project. Not even 1 year later, Bogdan announced the test version of a complete Qt for Android development suite. This suite is called Necessitas. It consists of the Lighthouse-based Qt port to Android, a complete Qt Creator integration with packaging and debugging support and much more, the Necessitas Suite installer, which sets up the Android Qt development libraries and Qt Creator on top of a standard Android development environment, and Ministro, the deployment service for Qt libraries to the end consumer. Let's start by downloading and setting up the Android Software Development Kit as well as the Android Native Development Kit. From the Android developer site, we download the Linux version of the Android SDK. And from another page on that site, we get the Android NDK. Then we extract both downloaded archives. For Android development, we need a Java development kit as well as AND, the Java build tool. The Android SDK is not yet completely set up. We need to do some things in the Android SDK manager. We get the platform tools and the SDK platform for at least one Android version. Then we create a new virtual device for the Android emulator, with enough space on the SD card and with our screen resolution of choice. Having the standard Android SDK installed, we can now continue with the Qt part. Necessitas is hosted on SourceForge. We just need to download one installer and run it. The installer creates a Start menu entry, which we use to launch Qt Creator. Under Tools, Options, Android, we specify the Android SDK and NDK locations, as well as the toolchain and end location. Our virtual device, which we created moments ago, has been detected, and there is even the possibility to add and remove devices and launch the emulator from within Creator. In the Qt 4 options, we add a new Qt version by specifying the location of the QMake binary that came with Necessitas. Let's finally get our first application running on Android. I am opening a Qt Quick application called SameGame and select the Qt version. Creator generated a few Java files for us, which are the shell for our C++ based Qt application. The file libs.xml lists which Qt modules are needed to launch our application. SameGame also needs Qt declarative. Now we can press play and see how our application gets first built as shared library, then the Java code gets built and the package gets created. SameGame gets deployed to my attached device and gets launched. Finally, we see our first QtQML application running on Android. While we are here, let's look at a few more QML applications. An initial input methods implementation has already been done. OpenGL support is still missing in the first version of Qt for Android because of technical issues, but the software rendering is pretty performant. What if our application has bugs? No reason to worry. Bogdan already implemented Android debugging in Creator for emulator and device. You can see the debugger in action on his YouTube channel. We have everything we need to create, develop, test and package Qt applications for Android. But what about deployment? The Qt libraries need to be present on the end user's device in order to make our Qt applications work. That's why Bogdan also implemented a pretty smart deployment service for Qt libraries called Ministro. The very first time any Necessitas-based Qt application is started on a device, the user is asked to install the Ministro application. Then the Market app launches and offers Ministro to be installed with a few clicks. Please note, this only happens once on a device, if Ministro was not yet installed. Now, Ministro will download the missing Qt libraries that are required for our application. The libraries are stored in a central location on the system and are now shared among Qt applications. Therefore, the next launch of a Qt application may not trigger any library download. Remember the libs.xml where we added Qt declarative? Ministro uses that data to determine which Qt libraries need to be downloaded. Another very crucial point of Ministro is that it downloads a version of Qt libraries that is compatible with the Android version running on the end user's device. Now you are ready to port your Qt application to Android.